Hi there, everybody. Welcome to What's Cooking. This is a show for adults and families to kind of give you some different ideas of what to make, because I know we're just as guilty as any family about having the same thing all the time, and it gets monotonous and it sucks. And so maybe, a little bit of this is about being super, super easy too. So I know when I get off work or when I've had a long day, I don't want to stand there cooking for an hour, hour and a half at a time. So for me, easy is the best. But I also visibly really like food. So having it taste good is very important too. So the first thing we always do before we prep food is wash our hands. And now is just as important as any that we wash our hands properly. So we need to make sure the water is warm, not scalding, burn your hands off, hot, but warm. We're going to get a cup of soap. And what we're trying to accomplish is to make lots and lots of bubbles. And you need to use friction, because friction's what's gonna, rub them off of there. The bubbles are gonna take that layer of fat off the outside of the bacteria and whatnot, so the soap can actually kill it. But we're gonna wash for 20 seconds, and we're gonna make sure we get every single part of our hands. That means taking each finger individually and washing each finger. Same with our thumbs. Backs of our hands. Our palms in between the fingers. We're going to scrub underneath our nails. And up our wrists. And then we are going to let our hands just run under the water to rinse off. And instead of shutting the handle off with our hands, we're going to dry our hands off with a paper towel, because our kitchen towels are disgusting and we need to not be using those on our hands or on any surfaces, really. It's like a one and done use. So we're going to use a paper towel to shut the water off. And we have somebody trying to come in. Hey, Braden. We're going to throw that away. Oh, there he is.
Forgot about it, sorry.
All right, Braden, I need you to mute until you have a question, okay?
Okay.
All right. So I said we're making shepherd's pie today. Shepherd's pie is super, super simple made this way. And I love it. It's delicious. My son loves it. And he's probably one of the pickiest eaters you've ever known. So, few ingredients. Normally you would use cream of mushroom soup. My husband hates cream of mushroom soup. So I'm going to use cream of celery. 2 cans of that. You need a pound or about a pound of hamburger. And I use 80-20 because that's got about the right amount of fat in it to keep it flavorful and moist rather than having it dried out. You need a frozen bag of mixed vegetables. This is something I didn't put on the list, but I always put in with my hamburger when it's cooking, is dried minced onions. You need ketchup and some cheddar cheese. And then some instant potatoes. I make 6 servings of instant potatoes. And in fact, my water for that is going right now. So let me. An important thing that I forgot to tell you, and I've already done this, but these are my homemade disinfecting wipes. I have 2 containers. One, I always chop the, slice the paper towels in half. Put 1/2 in this container, 1/2 in another container, and it's super easy to make. It's 1.5 cups water, hot water, 1/4 cup of 91% rubbing alcohol. You can use 70% or above. I choose to use the higher strength. And 4 to 5 drops dish soap. Remember how I just said that dish soap takes that fatty layer off the outside of bacteria and viruses? And that's what kills them. So that will dissolve the greasy, fatty layer off the outside of them, and the alcohol will kill it. So when you have that done, pour it in there, and that's for each half of this disinfecting wipes as you use that recipe. You pour that recipe over the top of your paper towels, let it soak in for 2 or 3 minutes, and then you pull the core of that paper towel out and you make pop-up disinfecting wipes. And when you're disinfecting, you want to make sure your surfaces are completely wet and you let them air dry. Do not dry them. You let this stuff do its job and kill these bacteria and viruses and making your surfaces safe. So I have done that to all my surfaces already. I have also pre-browned our hamburger. I did not, however, add my minced onion in yet. I do not drain the fat from this. And you can just eyeball this. I use like 1/4 cup of dried minced onion. That way I don't have to waste time chopping an onion, crying my full eyes out because the onions are so stupid strong, and everybody wonder what the heck's wrong with me. So here I've got my water for my instant potatoes and my butter. I'm going to finish those off real quick. I normally do not use instant potatoes. Normally I will spend the time dicing potatoes and boiling them because I really don't like instant mashed potatoes. For some people, it's okay. I just, as a preference of mine, I don't like them. So we've done 2 cups of water, and we have done 3 tablespoons of salt or of butter. And I do use butter because butter is simply cream and salt. 2 ingredients as compared to the margarine, which is several ingredients. But then again, if you want to use margarine, that's totally up to you. You measure out the teaspoons. So we need 3/4 cup of milk. And I've tried teaching this before. You have to measure your liquids the right way. So when you're measuring liquids, let me put this up. You will notice you will always use a clear container, graduated container. Always need it sitting on a flat level surface. And you will see that in the middle, it kind of dips down a little bit. That's called your meniscus. And that is where your level needs to be. Not necessarily up higher or lower. Especially when you're baking, you need to have the correct measurements. Cooking is not as persnickety as baking is. Baking is definitely more chemical reactions going on. So you get eye level and make sure you have the correct amount. So I'm going to pour that in there. And then we need 2 cups. So the liquids go in the clear one. The solids, they go in these measuring cups. We need 2 cups of flakes. And try to get it as level as you can. Again, if you're baking, it is super important that you get this level. And when I do a baking thing, I will show you how to level your measuring cup. Where is my whisk? I do not have my whisk. That would be because my child put it in the wrong spot. So we're going to whisk these in. I'm just letting that hamburger come back up to temperature and letting those onions cook in there a little bit. All right, so that's good for those. And once again, I do not drain my hamburger because it becomes more flavorful if you don't drain it. But I have my hamburger browned, and this is normally like a 2-pot and pan, and then whatever you're going to bake this off in type meal. So I do have my oven preheated at 350 degrees. And we can go ahead and add our mixed vegetables into this. And we are just warming everything up. You don't want to overcook the vegetables. So we're just basically taking the frost off of them and warming them up, and they can finish in the oven. And we will add our cream of mushroom soup. In my case, cream of celery. Make 1 can. And I did pre-season this meat with salt and pepper as well. I'm going to stir this in. And I have this on about medium heat, so it's not like going to scorch my pan, but it's going to warm everything up. And I would say this will easily feed 5 people. Depending on, I've had boys, I understand. So that would be about 4. But I know Riley and I don't eat quite as much, so I would say 4 to 6 it'll feed. And then we need about a 1/4 cup of ketchup. And I have not opened this one yet. And it's being a pain in my behind. I loosened it with the other hand, just so you know. So what happens when you have 5 surgeries on your hands? Things become not as easy to do. So we're gonna add about a quarter cup of ketchup to this. And want to try to get everything back in the refrigerator as quickly as possible. I got the wrong cheese out, so I'm going to use Colby Jack cheese because that's what I have in my refrigerator. Normally, I would use cheddar cheese in this. And you want about a quarter cup of cheese in this too. Quarter to a half cup, depending on how much cheese you like. My husband's not a huge cheese fan either. We're gonna spoon this in, or stir this together. But this also helps it stick together a little bit and not come out as runny. So that's super important. So you don't want it to like fall all over the place and not be able to get a good portion of everything on your plate. So that's mixed in together really well. I'm going to put this up. And then I will show you what pan I am using, or container I am using. So we will be putting it in the oven in this container. I find it works very well. You know, you can divide them in half and do thirds this way and get 6 servings out of it. And those are decent sized servings as well. So this is what it comes out looking like. I don't know if you can see that. Let me show you in the other one. I'll dump it in here. And you'll see this actually makes quite a bit. I have been known to feed crowds before with this. I'm going to spread that around a little bit, make it a little more even. By just like doubling the recipe. Like most stores now have like 2.5 pound packages of meat, and I just double it. I get 2 of the big cans of the cream of whatever soup, and then 2 bags of mixed vegetables and things like that. So let me show you now. This is what it looked like. And it's easily filled up 3/4 of that container. Now we are going to take our mashed potatoes, make sure they're mixed up really, really well. I am going to add a little bit of salt to these, because salt makes the world go round. I use pink Himalayan salt because it has trace minerals in it. It's not just the sodium chloride, it's got magnesium. Most of us are magnesium deficient. But I'm going to take this and kind of plop it around on there, and then we'll spread it out. And try to get it as evenly spread out as we possibly can. And I just kind of add it around. And it's okay if it's not pretty, because it sure tastes good. I know my husband, I told him we were making this today, and he's a little excited. And he doesn't always get excited about food. At least not the food I make. Because I will eat anything that doesn't eat me. I like food. I like a different variety of foods. They don't always like me because I have some allergies. But hey, you only live once, right? That's not a suggestion to go out and eat food you're allergic to either. So I think I have it all covered pretty well. Try to keep it off the sides a little bit so it doesn't stick as much. But these potatoes, they kind of don't stick too much anyway. And then because I like a little extra cheese in mine, will sprinkle a little cheese, like on my little piece of this world. Like just like a quarter of it. And then you're gonna stick this in the oven. I say, half hour or so at 350. Enough to warm it up, brown the potatoes, melt the cheese, whatever you have. So, Brayden, do you have any questions? You can unmute yourself. Do you have any questions?
No, I do not.
Okay. All right. Was that easy enough?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, see, now you can make your mom something new.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to have to try that. It looks really good.
Glad I can help. Well, and you have a ton of brothers and sisters. Now you know how to make something really super simple for your brothers and sisters, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's all I got. I will post a picture of this when it's done so everybody can see it along with this video. And I will talk to you guys later.